Some advice I would give to the girl that I was last weekend. When your best friend has a potluck, eat anything you want. Pay for it tomorrow when you go for a run. You love running now. Your body is trading its fat in for muscle, and it is showing in your thighs. Remind yourself of the time you used heartbreak as a 24/7 boot camp and not a diet plan. Give a shit about yourself like that and eat, girl. When your best friend introduces you to the boy, resist making a memory of his cologne. His scent will be the last thing you're able to scrub off of you in the morning, so think, girl. You've never been with a body like his. Contemplate how you're going to explain to him your queerness without using the words bisexual or confused. You've never given your body permission to have sex with a body that doesn't understand the war yours has survived. Being queer affords you the risk it takes to love other women. It allows you the default of letting people assume that you're not attracted to men. The truth is that no matter what's inside of their pants, you will not sleep with anybody if they try to convince you that the war wasn't real. If they try to convince you that the war is now over. But tonight, you're not supposed to be at war. Tonight, you're at your best friend's potluck with this boy. When are you supposed to tell him all of this? When you move in to kiss him first, take it slow. When you're holding the bottom half of him in your mouth, don't freak out. When his hand is inside the bottom half of you, don't come. When your bottom half is holding his bottom half inside itself, use your thighs to hug his hips. You've got muscles growing there, remember? This feels so good. But it's not the way you usually get what you want. Where is your voice? You are not a quiet girl. When you find it, and you use it to ask him to go down on you, and he says no, because you don't shave. Burn your body into a desert that nobody is allowed to survive in. Dry every inch of you up till you're on the verge of brush fire. Imagine what he was taught your body is supposed to look like. Something close to a newly waxed linoleum floor, perfect for getting him to where he needs to be. Let him vomit his apologies all over your tiles. Your skin. Then teach him at what expense your body comes at every time it is naked, used, then rejected. That this is why you find yourself fucking women instead. That at least her words will feel like a mirror critiquing its own reflection. The kind of hate that makes you feel more at home and less like the floorboards. When you go home the next morning to take a shower, you find yourself shaving between your legs. You cry as loud as you want. Let the water rinse over you till his cologne slips down to drain. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Don't forget the war your body was born in and is surviving from, so get dressed. Go for a run. You've got muscles growing in your thighs, your arms, in your chest. Your insecurity is not a diet plan, Teresa. It is a fire escape that your body was convinced it needed, but it doesn't. Your body needs your voice. Your voice is the fire. It doesn't need an escape. It needs you to pick it up, girl, and keep it there. Fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Adam Roa, everybody. Give him a round of applause. So good to see you, man. Yeah. So good to see you.
I learned something that was really impactful for me, which is that your capacity to love others is limited only by your capacity to love yourself. And that's what inspired this piece of poetry, which I call, "You Are Who You've Been Looking For." You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies. But the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, I got a trick that I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, "I'm so dumb," and I'd say, "You're so brilliant." She'd say, "I'm so weak," and I'd say, "You're so resilient." And when she said, "I feel ugly," and I said, "You look beautiful," she asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug, and she said, "Treat yourself like someone you loved." Treat yourself like someone you loved. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me was the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough. And I am not any more special or unique than you. That is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you can see that with life, you can be a lover, not a fighter. And that life, you deserve it. Because you are worth it. And there is no point in letting yourself keep forgetting, because no matter what you say or do, you are perfect. And so today, I hope I leave you with a direction correction away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me, they are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your perfection. So start today. Take a good, long look in the mirror and say, "I am who I've been looking for."
That's Adam Roa, everybody.
Dude, that was amazing.
Wow.
Tell me what you love. If I look you in the eyes and ask you what you love, the answers will likely roll off your tongue. You love pizza.
Oh yeah.
And crafting and roller coasters and poetry. You love to read, you love to write. You love birds, music, tattoos, obscure documentaries, and the color of sunlight filtered through the smoke of a wildfire. You love your boyfriend, your mom, your brother, your sister, your daughter, your best friend, your dog, your grandmother, your cousin, your aunt, your wife. You love pastries and foreign languages and folk music and the way it feels to itch a bug bite. You love early mornings and late nights and study breaks. and hugs and sentimental cards on your birthday, how long do you think you could go on and on before you said, I love myself? Most people go a lifetime. I used to think I was invincible, like most young people do, and my grandmother, with a smile sewn of wisdom, told me, if you really want the truth, go stand in front of a mirror. She told me, meet yourself in the mirror. Make a date of it. Look closely, and even if it's strange, keep looking until your eyes become skies with constellations of light and everything else falls away. Examine every inch of your face and feel however you feel about it, but be thorough. See even the things you don't like to see. And when you know your face like you know a friend's, meet your eyes again. And if it's awkward or forced, do the best that you can, and with all the sincerity you can muster, say, I love you. I thought it was stupid, and I told her that right there. But for some reason, I still crept into my bathroom late that night to rendezvous with my eyes. It was surprisingly awkward. I was awkwardly shy, and I kept my gaze turned down like I was looking at myself for the first time. With a flutter in my stomach, I met my own stare, and even though everything inside of me protested, I let out a half-breath that carried an almost inaudible whisper of the words, and then I cried uncontrollably because I knew it wasn't true. I stood in that bathroom every night for a year, and I lied to my eyes until I could rewrite the truth. When I looked in the mirror for the first time and knew that I loved myself, I also knew I would never need anything else to survive. My grandmother knows me. And instead of telling, she showed me that love is a tree, and if we don't grow it from the roots, we'll spend our lives collecting dry leaves. And they're charming when pressed in books or kept in picture frames, but they don't grow up to feed our families the way seeds do. She told me, you cannot say I love you without the implied foundation of, but I love myself first. If you do not love yourself, every time you have ever said, I love you, it was a lie. And she was right.
What do you think it means to love thyself? I feel like I hear it a whole lot, but don't nobody really teach me how to love myself, because when they say it, I feel like it's not really what they mean. When they show it, all I really see is people trying to cover up their own insecurities, but that don't feel right to me. Cause see, I thought I understood it. I thought I knew self-love because I don't really not like myself too much. Till somebody told me what happens when you don't see anything inside yourself worth loving, and I was stumped. I ain't have an answer. And in fact, in that moment I realized that I couldn't even give a definitive example. Pause. Think about it. You ever think about how it's easy for us to encourage everyone else to love themselves, but then when it comes to our turn, we don't even give it a shot? You ever think about how hypocritical that actually really is? I don't know. Anyways, I didn't have any tactics. I didn't have any options. I had to do my own soul searching, and I had to face the fact that I never really faced my negative thoughts, and running away from them seemed like the easiest route with the least amount of obstacles. I guess it's easier to love thy neighbor, but just neglect the as thyself part. I'm guessing that it's a lot easier when all you see is good behavior, but talk to me when there's nothing to really hype thyself up on. Have you ever hated you? Have you ever looked at your reflection and thought to yourself, why am I so unlovable? Have you ever had to fight your own thoughts about the fact that you don't see any value inside your own self, and you can't even seem to find something in yourself that seems enough for you? See, if you've never had to fight that battle, then you can't really coach me through it. And trust me, it is a battle, and actually it's more like a war that we were never even meant to fight. If you've never not liked you, then you can't give me an opinion about how to like me. You don't know the things I've done. You don't know the things I've seen. But what if I told you I would also be a fool to say that self-love is impossible? It is a journey, but if you don't take it, then the odds of you finding it are way less probable. That's facts. Pause. Think about it. Self-love is the foundation of all of our relationships. It's not that hard to put two and two together and see if we don't have a positive relationship with ourselves and how we view them, it's going to be very difficult to have that with others, don't you think? If we can't fully accept and embrace ourselves, we can't fully accept and embrace others. And if we can't show healthy and productive affection for ourselves, I mean, you guessed it. How can we show healthy and productive affection for others? I don't know. Anyways, in the world that we live in today, healthy self-love seems like a foreign concept. It's easy to get self-love mixed up with self-obsession. It's easy to get flipped upside down when I start to think that I'm my very own blessing. Nah, I'm talking about appreciation. I'm talking about valuing and cherishing your nature, the way you look without the glamour and the glitz, treasuring who you are even when no one else is, your quirky and weird personality traits, your distinct and different attributes as they are, the sound of your own voice, the way you see things, the victories you've taken, and yes, right even down to your scars. It's beautiful, it's unique, it's sacred. But none of it means a thing if you believe that when God made you, he really made a mistake and flunked the test. I mean, pause, really think about it. Have you ever thought about the fact that when you see yourself as less than, you're really telling God he made a mistake when he made you? Do you really think God makes mistakes? Have you ever thought about the reality that the more lovable that we try to make ourselves, the less lovable we actually become? I mean, really, everything that we do to cover up our imperfections is really just communicating to others imperfections are not acceptable. Do you really think that way? I don't know. Anyways, after a whole lot of soul searching, I'm starting to realize that self-love really isn't about me at all. It's actually more about God. It's really about accepting what he's made, and the fact that I'm different from you and the other billions of people on this earth is not really that odd. It's actually remarkable. Truth is, I think the purest way for us to see ourselves is through the eyes of the one that made us. If he saw me as worth it, then maybe I can learn to see me as the same. Thus, they say self-love is the best love, but really I think God's is. And truth be told, in my fickle human nature, I'm really not all that loving, and yet still God is. Maybe your self-love is not really about you. Maybe you can't view yourself through your own eyes because your perception has been skewed, but hey, that's a lot of food for thought. So pause, think about it.